Identity releases acceptance. I am significantly important to others. When you really see your identity, you're going to not just accept yourself, but you're going to see the value and the worth you have in other people's lives. It'll release worth, recognizing how valuable you are. It'll release courage. I will succeed. I'm going to learn from my failures, my mistakes, and my successes. Sometimes, if we focus only on our success, we can get a big head and we think we're all that. But guess what? We can learn from our successes, not saying, well, I did it perfectly, but how could I have done it better? So we learn from our failures, our mistakes, and our successes. That gives us the courage to press through those difficult times. I remember I was in London, England, and I had an opportunity to speak before a lot of high-level governmental leaders and high-level business people. And I had a 3-hour block. And at the end of that 3 hours, I wanted to go crawl under a rock because in my thinking, it was horrible. And they were very gracious. They were very kind. But I recognized at that moment that I did not have the language or the ability to connect to governmental leaders on that level or business people on that level. So I came home and I could have crawled under that rock, or I could have had the courage to rise and say, this is who God created me to be. And I knew that. I knew I was called to do that, but I recognized that I was incompetent to do that because I didn't have the right language. So I spent the next couple years reading every leadership book I could get my hand on. And I began to pull from those things and began to learn the language of business. I already kind of had the language of government because I worked in the government, but to learn high-level corporate language, I had to shift my mindset and I had to learn that language. Because when you speak someone's language, they will hear you. They don't have to translate it. They don't have to interpret it. When I go to other countries and I hear somebody off in the corner speaking English, I'm just drawn to them because they're speaking my language. Somebody else might be speaking their language and saying all types of wonderful things, but if I can't connect to their language, it's doing nothing for me. So I learned I had to speak that language, and so my identity and my purpose gave me the courage to push through what I thought were failures and grow and learn from that. Identity releases optimism. I am positively contagious in my world. I love that. Be contagious. Let the light be contagious. Let your voice be contagious. Because when someone hears your voice and it excites something on the inside of them, you're helping them to discover theirs. I was talking to someone in the midst of break, and they walk in a level of corporate America. They live in that world. And so when we talk on the phone, I'm sitting at my computer and I'm taking notes based upon what they're saying. Because what's happening is I want what's in them to be contagious to me. Because as they're talking, it's stirring my passion. As they're communicating, it's igniting a language inside of me, a way of applying who I am in a way that I never thought of before. So that person is becoming contagious to me. So that causes you to feel good. I'm optimistic because I recognize I'm impacting other people for good. My personal identity can be released through my purpose, which is my destiny, and I recognize that I'm able to bring positive change to my world. We don't have a problem working hard if we have fruit from our work. The challenge in life is if we work hard and work hard and work hard and we're not seeing the fruitfulness. That's when it's discouraging. But when we're able to see fruitfulness by our labors, then we're going to celebrate working hard. Identity releases a self-trust. See, I recognize if I'm doing what I'm called to do and I'm expressing my identity in my spheres of influence, I can trust myself. That's powerful. If I am convinced I am giving my 150%, then I can trust that my best is good enough. Giving my best is always sufficient. Your personal purpose statement empowers you to articulate your core values and to decide where and how we will focus our energies. So when you develop a personal purpose statement, you're able to communicate to someone else an aspect of your core values. In my personal purpose statement, you would probably not be surprised that justice is a part of my personal purpose statement. And then when I look at my personal purpose statement, it shows me where I'm going to place my time, effort, and energy. If I'm going to get on the plane and fly somewhere, it's got to be releasing my purpose. The importance of a purpose statement, it helps us make decisions that connect tasks to the hearts. See, it brings discipline to my thinking. So right now, I take the task, and how does that task connect to my purpose? How does that task empower my thinking ability to bring that focus in there so I accomplish the core goal and the core objective? It helps me stay focused in the midst of the screams all around me. Everything is screaming for your attention, vying for your attention. Some things are the selfishness of others, what they want, what they need, what you're supposed to do for them. And sometimes it's the selfishness of yourself, where I just want to do what I want to do. But there's a lot of things screaming. But when you know you have a purpose, and that purpose is clearly defined before you, and you keep that before you, it helps you to discipline your mind and your thoughts to live out of being controlled by someone else's selfishness or controlled by your own. It keeps you on task. Once again, it's knowing your contribution and be willing to make that. Because the fact is, you're going to be chased by the urgent continually. Or you're going to be committed to the important. One of the most powerful things in saying no is your ability to say yes. The importance of your purpose statement causes it to be easier to align your actions to decisions and to follow through. I'm able to follow through to completion on a core motivation of my heart and my life. Your purpose statement helps you to communicate to others. Tell me about you. You share that short little purpose statement. They go, wow, you really know who you are and what you want to do. That rocks. That's awesome. It helps us stay on course and focused. I will not quit. Because see, I'm operating from a central core of courage. Because if I know my purpose, I will have the courage to not quit, no matter how difficult it is. The importance of a purpose statement helps us to determine our progress. Are we growing and reaching our goals? Am I advancing? I don't know about you, but I hate stagnation. I do not want to stay in the same place. I've got to be growing. I've got to be advancing. Even when it comes to my house, every year I got to improve. I got to upgrade something. I got to do something to make it better. I'm like, nothing can stay the same in my life. I don't want it to stay the same. I don't want relationships to stay the same. I don't want what I'm doing to stay the same. I don't want even my home surroundings to stay the same. I need advancement. I need increase. I'm not satisfied with stagnation because I figure if I'm not growing, I'm going backwards. The importance of a purpose statement, it helps us to say yes or no to the opportunities, requests, and expectations of others. It's an internal restraint to decide what is important or not. It helps us assess the areas we need to develop and grow in. So it shows me what I need to do to prepare so when I can increase the very gift that's on the inside of me. I recognize these are the investments I need to make. Now let's talk practically. So the basics of a purpose statement are it is an abbreviated statement. Your purpose should not be a page long or even a paragraph long. It needs to be very, very short, that it's so inside of you that when someone says, what's your passion? You can say it in a sentence. It needs to be abbreviated. See, and a lot of times we want to articulate every aspect of our purpose. But the fact is, we don't have to do that for somebody else because they really don't want to know at that point. But there is depth of meaning in the words that we choose. Those words that we choose stir emotion inside of us. The words mean a lot to us. As I've helped people through the years find their personal purpose, and I'd be bringing up some words, and they go, no, no, no. And then you say a word, they go, yes, that's me. I've seen people, executives, governmental officials, I've seen people just begin to, their eyes well up with tears when you say some words that so touch the core of their heart. It's so powerful. The words in their purpose statement mean so much to them. Your purpose statement needs to be flexible. The fact is, though your purpose doesn't really change, you have different seasons in your life. What was inside of me when I was a young girl working in Washington, D.C. is really inside of me now. It's just matured a lot more. But there was a time I was a mama with little ones, and I couldn't do what I'm doing now. There was a season of my life where that passion was there, and I expressed it in my sphere of influence, but the fact is, I wasn't doing what I'm doing now. So the seasons of your life may change, but there's still that vein of your purpose going through everything that you're doing. We must recognize as we progress, so does our purpose. Your purpose and your identity becomes more clearly defined as you grow and you increase. Your personal purpose statement is understandable for others and simple for application. Let's look at these three areas. And these three areas, when they come together, will help you to discover your purpose. Number one, your strengths and your abilities. What do you do very well right now? What are you just good at? What are the skills? What do you do that is easiest and most natural for you? It's like you don't have to battle to do it. You don't have to struggle. It's like natural. It's like an 8 to you. What do you love to do? If somebody asks you to volunteer, you go, yay, I want to do that. Because you love to do it. I talked about this a little bit, but what do you not like to do, but it is necessary in order to do what you love to do? So I really don't like the detail work anymore. I might not even enjoy making PowerPoints and all those things in the detail, but I celebrate that because that's giving me a platform to do what I love to do. Even though it's something I really don't like to do. But see, what is maturity? Doing what you need to do to ultimately accomplish what God's called you to do. You might not like to change a poopy diaper, but because you love that baby, you'll change it. You do a lot of things that you might not like to do, but it's because there's a greater goal, there's a greater purpose. What do people tell you that you're good at, even though you might not recognize it or see it in yourself? This has been huge to me through the years. When on different platforms, people began to speak into my life, whether it was government or business or the educational system, and people would begin to say, when you speak, and they'd say something. And I'd go, really? Because I couldn't see that in me, but they could see it in me. I am a passionate person, I know that, but when people would come up and say, wow, you inspire me because you're so passionate. When you say something, you just don't say it. You say it with such passion. And I go, I do? I want that to be conveyed, but I don't always see it in myself. Listen to what people are saying about you. Don't just say, oh, no, well, I don't know. Don't walk in a false humility. Listen to people that you trust to communicate to you in honesty what they see inside of you. Tell me what you see inside of me. That helps me to be able to clarify what I know is already in the midst of me. What do you do that stirs creativity and motivates you? Where are you the most creative? When you think about the areas where your creative juices begin to flow, that's a part of your purpose. It's a part of what you were planted on this earth to accomplish. So the first aspect is your strengths and your abilities. The second area is your passion and your values. What do you love to learn about? If you could research anything, what would you research? If you could Google anything, what would you Google? You'll invest. You'll research. You'll study. I am not into neuroscience. I'm not a scientist. But I researched neuroscience so that I would have an ability to not just empower myself, but empower leaders. I'm using neuroscience as a tool to take a complex principle and make it simple and applicable that anyone of any age could apply it to their life so they can make healthier decisions. So what do you love to research about? Some of you, I can tell you what you love to research about. What makes you angry? What irritates you and frustrates you? We've got to stop feeling guilty about what makes us angry and think, why am I angry? If I'm in the store and I see a mama look at their kid and slap him across the head and say, you're so stupid, you make me sick, that makes me angry. When I go into a place and I see a business owner or a pastor or a leader treating somebody disrespectfully and dishonorably and talking down to them and bossing them around and commanding them, that makes me angry. I've rescued some people from abusive leadership, saying, you don't have to live under that. That's not, you're too valuable to be talked to like that. That stuff makes me angry. But I've learned through the years not to communicate my anger, but ask for a way to how do I respond to that. One day I was in a store and a mother was doing some of those things I just talked about. And I wanted to go correct that mama, but that would have done nothing. It would not have produced anything positive. But what I did is I went up to their child and I just walked casually. Oh, you are the cutest little thing. You're so valuable. You're just so beautiful. And I just began to speak value into that child. And the mother's like, yes, they are. They are. But the fact was, what she had just said, I contradicted in a positive way. And guess what? It did not make the mother angry. It made her proud because that was her child. But I was trying to model something to that mama rather than just being angry. You must recognize the things that make you angry is a very good indication of what your purpose is, because you have a solution, you have a message, you have a purpose to address those things. It's powerful. When you are in interaction with others, what are you very opinionated about? If you've got an opinion for something, there's some passion inside of you. Because you're not going to sit and share your aggressive opinion with somebody if that thing is not important to you at all. What stirs that emotion inside of you when you talk about it? What gets you excited? What makes you cry? If you could influence someone to do something, what would it be? What areas do you feel judgment towards others? Because when you feel criticism towards someone else, it's probably because they're doing something that's inconsistent to what you value. So when you see that, you recognize that there's something inside of you that is challenged by what they're doing. And I'm not saying this in a critical sense. Please know my heart. I'm just using it as an illustration. But through the years, I would see speakers get up They'd be ushered onto the stage and they'd be ushered off. And there might be 50 million reasons why that takes place, and I'm not here to judge that. But when I would see it, it would so bother me because I thought, you're there speaking to people, but you're untouchable to the people. And I wasn't angry at them or offended at them, or I wasn't critical of them. But inside of me, there was this thing that I thought, that just feels wrong. If I'm going to speak to people, I want to touch the people. But see, that's all a part of my justice value system, and it's all about my passion for leadership. It's not that what they were doing was wrong, but from my perspective, it wasn't the way I wanted to model my leadership in my heart. So in the midst of seeing that, if I can avoid being critical of, and that's what a lot of people do, they'll just get critical when somebody does something they don't like, rather than saying, maybe it's because there's something inside of me that's going to model something differently. I want to be a different type of leader. So take everything to learn more about you. Passion supersedes your position, your titles, and your job descriptions. It supersedes your personality. This is huge. It supersedes your personal preferences or your personal needs. See, your passion cannot be compromised. If you compromise your passion, you will live frustrated. It must be expressed. You have to have an avenue of expression for your passion, or you're going to dry up and wither inside. Your passion is that internal GPS directing you towards certain goals and objectives. Everything inside of you is propelling you in a different direction. We are determined to influence others. We're determined to sacrifice for it. We will pay a price to prepare and personally invest our lives into it. And it's a place that I must guard my heart from judgment towards others who do not hold the same passion. That takes us back to validation quotient and axiogenics. When I can truly value what's on the inside of me, I will value what's on the inside of somebody else. So our skills and our abilities, number one. Number two, our passions and our values. The third aspect of our purpose is who is in need of the passion I possess. Your purpose is not for you. Your purpose is for others. There's a passion inside of me. Who needs this passion to cause them to go to another level? It might be a specific age group. It might be a race. It might be a type of people. It might be businessmen. It might be governmental leaders. I'm not sure where your target group is. It might be a specific need, but who needs what's on the inside of you? And when you can find the target group of those who need the passion you possess, then you know where to release who you are, because it's going to be celebrated and not tolerated, because who you are and what you carry is what they want, and that is powerful. See, when I am made aware of a need that is a reflection of who I am, my passion and my values, I'm motivated to action. Once you formulate your purpose and keep it before you, it will have your attention as well as your direction. It was about 60 years ago, Harvard University had a study, and they asked everyone in the senior graduating class to write down their goals and their objectives and their purpose and what they wanted to accomplish in their life. Only 3% of the graduating class fulfilled that assignment. 20 years later, when they went back, those 3% were worth more financially than the 97% combined. What you value underlies all your decisions and your actions. It may or may not be a conscious choice, but it determines your life and how your future will impact society.
I want to thank you for listening and encourage you to become a part of the Stop Devaluation movement. Be sure to like and follow #StopDevaluation on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and visit stopdevaluation.com for more information and free resources. You can help spread the movement by sharing with others, leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, and most of all, by living a courageous lifestyle of using your power for good. Go out and value someone today. Your life matters, and you can make the world a better place. One word, one choice, one action of validation at a time.